Hello and welcome to another video in Foundations of Maternal and Newborn Health. In today's videos, we're going to be talking about genetics. Okay. So to talk about genetics, we have to talk a little bit about the cell. So the cell here is drawn in red. So this is the cell. So the cell is here in red. And this is a picture of a cell as if we cut it in half. So it's usually kind of a round sphere, and we've cut it in half to reveal what's inside. And what's inside here in yellow is the nucleus. There's lots of stuff inside the cell that we won't talk about, but the nucleus is where the cell keeps its DNA. So this here in blue, this is DNA. And if we looked at this DNA under an ultra-powerful microscope, it would look something like this. So this is DNA here. So you may have seen pictures of DNA, or you may have heard of DNA. And this structure is called a double helix. So kind of one strand is a helix, and then there's two strands. So it's a double helix. That isn't super important to know. But this is what DNA would look like if you looked with a really, really powerful microscope. These are extremely, extremely tiny. So you can think of DNA as like the master cookbook to your body. Of your body. So inside of your DNA is all the instructions for everything that your body needs to make you as a person, or to make any person in particular. So everyone will have their own DNA or their own cookbook that makes all of their components of them and makes them who they are. But your body only has one set of DNA. Each cell only has one set of DNA. And so your body doesn't want to damage it. So it wants to get the recipes out of the DNA, but it doesn't want to destroy the DNA or hurt the DNA in any way. And so what your body does is it actually makes a copy of the DNA. Makes a copy. So it makes a copy of this DNA, and this is RNA. And you can see RNA and DNA, they look very similar. The only difference is this other strand. So it's just missing this other strand on this other side. And this is very temporary. RNA is very temporary. Okay. And then from this RNA, what your body can do is read the instructions of the cookbook and actually make a protein. And proteins, we've talked about these in other videos, but they're kind of just like globs. They're kind of a string, but they form these structures, these globs. So this would be a protein. And proteins are really what do all the functions of the body. Okay? And this is really, really, truly is everything. So this can be everything from like how you digest food. Okay, your skin is made up of proteins, things like your hair, your bones, fingernails, right? So the structural things, your muscles are made up of proteins. It really is like everything. Everything your body does is driven by these proteins, including this whole copying process. So actually, proteins will come over to your DNA and will actually read your DNA. So they'll kind of pass along your DNA and copy it. And as they're going along, they'll make RNA. And then even once you have RNA, you'll have a protein that comes along and turns it into a protein. So these proteins really do everything for your body. And this whole concept is really important, from DNA to RNA to protein. Okay, so this is kind of the basics of genetics. And in the next videos, we'll talk a little bit more about how you inherit different genes from your parents, sex determination, so how a baby's sex is determined, so male versus female, and then as well as some genetics diseases. We'll go into kind of how genetic diseases occur.